The arena in Las Vegas was a crucible of raw energy. Its 20,000 seats packed to the brim for the Pro Wrestling League's Clash of the Giants. The air was thick with the acrid bite of pyrotechnics, the tang of spilled beer, and the electric hum of a crowd ravenous for spectacle. Spotlights carved through the haze, bathing the ring in a stark glow of white and gold, while the fans' roars surged like a living pulse, shaking the rafters. Signs waved wildly, some scrawled with "Beast Rules," others defaced with "Booze" in marker. This wasn't just a show. It was a modern gladiatorial arena, where larger-than-life warriors clashed for glory. And the crowd worshipped every moment. In the VIP section, Jason Statham sat like a lone sentinel, untouched by the chaos around him. His tailored black jacket hugged his lean, muscular frame, the fabric catching glints of the arena's frenetic lights. His steely eyes, hardened by years of real-world danger and cinematic battles, scanned the ring with a quiet intensity. A faint smirk tugged at his lips as he sipped a whiskey, the ice clinking softly in the glass. He wasn't here for the spotlight or the hype. His old stunt coordinator, Tom Hayes, now a consultant for the Pro Wrestling League, had lured him to the event with a promise. "This ain't your film sets, mate. This is raw, unfiltered adrenaline." Jason, a man who'd dodged explosions, taken real hits, and carried scars from stunts gone sideways, couldn't resist the call of that kind of rush. Now, as he watched the theatrical carnage unfold, he felt a familiar pull. The ring was a proving ground, and he respected its fire. The main event had just ended, leaving the arena crackling with aftershocks. Jack the Beast Carter, the Pro Wrestling League's reigning champion, had dominated his opponent with ruthless precision. At 6 feet 7 inches and 280 pounds, Jack was a colossus of muscle and ego, his shaved head gleaming under the spotlights, his every gesture radiating unyielding dominance. His victory had been brutal. A thunderous spinebuster followed by a clothesline that could have felled a tree, securing his championship belt and his place as the crowd's polarizing king. Half the arena cheered his supremacy, chanting "Beast! Beast!" while the other half booed. Their loyalty split but their passion unified. Jack soaked it all in, his massive frame filling the ring as he raised his belt high, basking in the chaos he'd created. He wasn't done. Grabbing a microphone, Jack's voice boomed over the arena's sound system, slicing through the crowd's roar like a guillotine. "Las Vegas, you just saw what happens to anyone who dares step to me," he bellowed, pacing the ring, his sweat-slicked head catching the light. "This is my house, and no one's taking my throne." The crowd erupted, feeding off his arrogance, some hurling insults, others chanting his name. The Jumbotron swept across the sea of faces, amplifying the energy, when it suddenly locked onto a solitary figure in the VIP section. Jason Statham, leaning back, whiskey in hand, his face a mask of calm amusement. Jack's eyes followed the screen, and a predatory grin split his face. The arena hushed, sensing something unscripted and electric. Well, look who's gracing us with his presence, Jason Statham, Hollywood's fake tough guy." The crowd exploded. A tidal wave of cheers, gasps, and chants of "Jason! Jason!" clashing with boos for Jack's audacity. Backstage, the producers' headsets buzzed with frenetic chatter. This wasn't planned, but it was a goldmine. A Hollywood legend baited by the Pro Wrestling League's biggest heel? Social media was already lighting up. "What's the matter, Statham?" Jack taunted, leaning into the ropes. "Jealous of a real man's world? Stick to your stunt doubles and leave the ring to me." Jason set his glass down with deliberate precision. The faint clink drowned by the arena's roar. His jaw tightened. A muscle flickering beneath his stubbled cheek. He'd spent decades forging his body into a weapon. Muay Thai in sweltering Bangkok gyms. Jiu-jitsu on worn dojo mats. Kickboxing that left his knuckles scarred. He'd taken hits that would have broken lesser men. Walked away from stunts that etched scars across his ribs. Jack's taunts, though laced with wrestling's theatrical flair, struck a nerve. Jason didn't care about the spotlight. He'd never needed it. But a challenge was a challenge. And he'd never back down from one. Beside him, Tom Hayes chuckled, his weathered face creasing with mischief. "Mate, he's got no clue who he's poking. You gonna let that slide?" Jason didn't reply. But his eyes narrowed, a glint of danger sparking within. Jack, smelling blood, pushed harder. "What's that, Statham? Scared? Step into my ring, and I'll snap you like a twig in 10 seconds flat." The crowd was a powder keg. 20,000 voices screaming, phones raised to capture the moment that could become legend. Jason stood, his movements slow and deliberate. Unbuttoning his jacket to reveal a physique carved from years of discipline. Not just for the camera, but for survival. The arena roared as he vaulted the barrier with the grace of a panther. His boots hitting the floor with a quiet thud that carried more weight than any shout. Security froze, their hands hovering over radios. No one dared step in the path of a man who moved like he could dismantle a room without breaking a sweat. Jason climbed the ring steps. His presence commanding a hush. And grabbed a microphone. His voice was low, sharp. Cutting through the noise like a blade. "Jack, I don't need 10 seconds. You want a fight? Let's make it real, official match, right now." The arena detonated, the energy seismic. A roar that seemed to rattle the very foundation. Backstage, head producer Emma Stone saw a historic moment unfolding. She barked orders into her headset. Scrambling to get the impromptu match sanctioned. Referees, legal advisors, and pro wrestling league brass huddled in a frenzy. Paperwork signed in a blur. This wasn't a stunt. It was an official bout. No titles on the line. But pride hanging heavy in the air like smoke. The ring announcer's voice thundered. "Ladies and gentlemen, in an unscheduled match. Jack the Beast Carter vs. Jason Statham." The bell rang. And the arena became a cauldron of noise. Every eye locked on the ring where a Hollywood icon faced a wrestling titan. Jack charged like a freight train. Banking on his size to crush the smaller man. At 280 pounds, he was a force of nature. His fists like battering rams. But Jason was a phantom. Sidestepping with the fluidity of a seasoned fighter. He snapped a Muay Thai elbow into Jack's ribs. The crack reverberating through the arena. Jack grunted, his massive frame absorbing the blow. But Jason was already moving. Ducking a wild haymaker and countering with a low kick that buckled the beast's knee. The crowd was on its feet, screaming. As Jason fought with surgical precision. His strikes a blend of jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, and raw instinct honed in gyms across the globe. This wasn't the choreographed dance of wrestling. It was real, raw, and relentless. A clash of worlds. Jack roared back, his power unrelenting. He grabbed Jason by the waist, hurling him into the turnbuckle with a force that shook the ring. The crowd gasped, expecting Jason to crumple under the impact. But he rolled with it. His body absorbing the punishment like a coiled spring. He sprang back, unleashing a flurry of strikes. Knees to Jack's midsection, elbows to his chest. A brutal uppercut that snapped the beast's head back. The arena was a furnace. Every blow met with a roar. Every dodge fueling the frenzy. Jack's size was a weapon. But Jason's speed and technique were a scalpel, cutting through the giant's defenses with calculated precision. The match was a brutal symphony. Jack's strength kept him in the fight, his massive hands clawing for control. He caught Jason in a suplex, slamming him to the mat with a force that echoed through the arena, the impact rattling the turnbuckles. But Jason's resilience was forged in harder fires. He rolled out, locking Jack's arm in a jiu-jitsu hold, and sweeping his legs, sending the beast crashing down like a felled oak. The crowd was deafening, chanting, "Statham! Statham!" As Jack's frustration mounted, Jason dodged a lariat, countering with a knee strike that doubled Jack over. Sensing the end, he wrapped the beast in a precise chokehold, his arms like steel cables, his technique flawless from years of real-world training. Jack thrashed, his face reddening, his massive hands clawing at Jason's arms. But the hold was unbreakable. The beast's hand slapped the mat, a rare submission that sent the arena into a frenzy. The referee called it. The bell rang, and Jason Statham was declared the victor of the impromptu match, the crowd's roar shaking the very walls of the arena. Jack rolled out of the ring, clutching his jaw, his eyes burning with a mix of fury and grudging respect. He staggered up the ramp, his championship belt still his, but his ego battered. Jason stood tall in the ring, breathing hard but composed, his chest rising and falling as he acknowledged the crowd with a single, curt nod. He didn't gloat. This wasn't his world, and he didn't need its trophies. He climbed out, his jacket slung over his shoulder, and headed backstage, the crowd still chanting his name like a war cry. Tom Hayes met him in the corridor, grinning ear to ear. "You just made history, mate. They'll be talking about this for years." Jason's smirk returned, faint but sharp. "Just another day," he said, brushing past. Back in the VIP section, Jason grabbed his things, the arena still buzzing like a live wire. The producers were already spinning the night into the Pro Wrestling League's next big storyline, their phones alight with calls from sponsors and media outlets. Social media erupted, clips of the official match going viral. Jason's spinning heel kick, the chokehold, Jack's tap out, all trending worldwide. The Pro Wrestling League machine churned on, turning one unscripted moment into a legend that would fuel pay-per-views for months. Jason left Las Vegas the next morning, the desert sun glinting off his rental car as he drove to the airport. The faint ache in his ribs, the scars on his knuckles, they were just souvenirs of another battle. He'd stepped into a world not his own, turned a taunt into a lesson, and walked away a legend in a ring he'd never meant to enter. The arena had been his proving ground for one night, and Jason Statham had shown the beast and the world what a real fighter could do.